In the 3rd and 4th century, there's an ancient text in Buddhism that actually reveals sex as a path to enlightenment. This is largely unknown and been stifled out of society for many different reasons. But in this video, I'm going to share with you what this ancient text was trying to convey and teach us, and how you can apply it in today's world in your life. Hi, my name is Nakula and I help men master their sexual energy so you can become a powerhouse both in and outside the bedroom. Go to the link in the descriptions and take the free sex transmutation guide if you're interested in learning how to use your sexual energy to create attraction, to create power, to create wealth, and ultimately to reach higher levels of consciousness. It is said that King Indrabhuti, who was the king of Udana, which is now modern-day Afghanistan, would observe every evening and night these 500 yellow birds flying to the Himalayas and then flying back. One day he called his ministers and said, "What are these birds? They're flying in such a weird pattern." One of his ministers leaned in and said, "Those are not birds at all. That is the Buddha and his 500 associates, arhats, meaning those who reached the highest path of their process." The king was thoroughly impressed in their abilities and their siddhis, their mystical powers. He would observe them flying to Mount Kailash every evening to practice meditation, and then come back in the morning to teach Dharma, or the path, the way. The king invited the Buddha and his associates and created a massive offering known as a puja, with many gifts and many presents and prayers and offerings. The Buddha and his 500 associates showed up, and after many days of teaching, the king became disturbed by the teachings of the Buddha because he said, "What you're telling me is to become enlightened, to have liberation, that I essentially have to give up my kingdom. I cannot do this. This is not possible. I am a king. I have a wife. I have children. I have kingdom. I'm a man of this world. Tell me, Buddha, is there not another path for me?" Instantly, the Buddha transformed himself in front of his eyes into a multi-formed, multi-armed, and multi-head being with a feminine or female multi-head woman and being in sexual union right in front of the king. The pure souls of the monastic life fainted from this because they couldn't believe, oh my gosh, the Buddha, he's displaying some sexual image. And around the Buddha, who is sitting in a lotus, actually had many other beings of the same nature, all with them. The Buddha leaned in to tell the king that actually there are different paths to enlightenment, and there are different paths to attaining a light body, or a body, eternal spiritual body, which can give eternal and spiritual life. The king inquired about this, and the Buddha told him that actually through the path of sensual pleasure, through the path of using your passion, your sexual energy, you can transform or alchemize it into enlightenment and develop a spiritual body. Now, this path is often not talked about, because it is a powerful path, and it generally wasn't taught to the public, but was reserved only for kings, only for special people on the planet. Many of the elites of the world knew this. The Yellow Emperor of China is documented to have sex with many, many women each night to attain higher levels of power and a spiritual consciousness. In modern day, kings like Steve Jobs would practice tantra or non-ejaculatory sex to alchemize their energy into what we call iPhones and Apple. This path is often refuted or ignored by the monastic class of men, or those who have taken on the vows of renunciation as the only path to enlightenment. But every single wisdom tradition, including Gnostic Christianity, including Hindu texts, Buddhist texts, Taoist texts, from the pagan traditions and the Druids to the native communities, all had inner teachings of sacred sexuality and the power of sexual energy to be alchemized and transformed. Now, my mission in this world, in this life, is to bring those teachings out to the general public, because they can no longer stay as secret teachings for a select few, to gain massive amounts of power and wealth, while the rest of the world is exposed to pornography and misinformation about masturbation, ejaculation, and this constant messaging that we should just diminish and waste our sexual energy. As men learn, like these great kings, how to have non-ejaculatory sex, how to retain their sacred seed, how to circulate that energy through their body, not only do they become better lovers and better men of the world, with time and practice, they eventually develop into a more spiritual being, a conscious being. When I say a spiritual being, I'm not talking about any particular religion or any particular label. I'm talking about the dismantling of the mental matrix in which you live by your society, by your culture, by your customs and traditions. These customs and traditions and cultures are largely meant to keep you on a path towards renunciation in religious communities, and in the overall world, it is largely meant to dismantle your power so that you're easily manipulated and controlled. These teachings of sexual alchemy must go out to everyone in the world, because the world is suffering and the world is so addicted to their sense pleasure that what we're doing here is we're spiritualizing that process and taking you back to the most inner teachings. There are outer teachings and there are inner teachings. There are some temples in India, for example, that when you go to them, there are many, many sexual positions and sexual forms all around the outside of the temple. But as you enter into the temple and into the very depths of the temple, there is no sex there. Transcendence. So from full of sex to transcending sex is the path of sexual alchemy. It is the ultimate path for enlightenment, and it is the ultimate path for those who wish to be kings in their own right in this life and in this world. If you're interested in diving deeper into this knowledge and learning how to apply it practically into your daily life so that you can excel in your health, in your focus, in your power, use it to grow your business, to create your relationships, to excel in your career, to make an impact in this world, and to reach higher levels of awareness, then go take the free sex transmutation guide, and also make sure you book a call with me if you're really serious, and I'll share with you the process that I've been studying and have learned and have used in my own life, and now am teaching many men around the world. I'll see you on the next video.